Hello and welcome back. Today we're tackling Leetcode problem 3637, Trionic Array I. This sounds super technical, but it's actually just about looking for a specific shape in our data. If you can visualize a mountain range with a valley, you're halfway there. Let's break it down together. Here's the problem statement. We are given a list of integers called nums. We need to figure out if this list is trionic, so what does that mean? It means the array can be split into three specific parts. First, it needs to strictly increase up to a certain point. Then, from that point, it must strictly decrease to another point. And finally, from that second point, it must strictly increase again until the end of the list. Basically, it goes up, then down, then up again. We need to return true if the list follows this pattern, and false otherwise. Before we code, let's make sure we really see the pattern. We are looking for an up, down, up shape. Think of it like a lightning bolt or the letter N. We have a first section that rises to a peak at index P, then a section that falls to a valley at index Q, and finally, a section that rises again to the end. The critical part is the word strictly. This means we can't have two numbers next to each other that are equal. It must always be moving up or moving down. Also, the indices tell us that each of these three legs must actually exist. You can't have an empty leg. Let's walk through an example to make this concrete. Suppose we have the list 1, 3, 5, 4, 2, 6. Does this fit our pattern? Well, let's start walking from the left. 1 to 3 is going up. 3 to 5 is going up. 5 to 4, by 6. That's going down. So our first peak is at 5, which is index 2. Now we are going down. 5 to 4, 4 to 2, 2 to 6. That's going up again. So our valley is at 2, which is index 4. Since we successfully found an up section, a down section, and a final up section, this array is trionic. We return true. Just a quick heads up. We'll be walking through the solution using Python, as it reads very much like English, but don't worry if that's not your main language. I'll be showing the full code for other popular languages like Java, C++, and JavaScript towards the end of the video. The logic remains exactly the same. Our first approach is to simply follow the definitions step by step. We can think of this as a simulation. We will start at the beginning and keep moving forward as long as the numbers are increasing. Once they stop increasing, we mark that spot as our first peak, let's call it P. Then, from there, we keep moving forward as long as numbers are decreasing. When that stops, we mark the valley, let's call it Q. Finally, we check if the rest of the array increases all the way to the end. If we successfully complete these three stages and all our indices make sense, we have a winner. Before we get into the code, let's talk about the real reason people fail at Leetcode. It's not because they can't reverse a linked list. It's because they break their daily streak. I built my daily to-do specifically to solve this. You can set Solve Daily Leetcode as a routine task. This means it reminds you to complete your routine tasks every day. It's a dedicated system to force you to be consistent, which I also use to remind myself to upload these videos every day. If you're watching this channel, you're trying to improve, so this tool makes sure you actually show up to do it. I also want to be 100% transparent about how this app will grow. I am an indie developer, not a big corporation. I will never take away a free feature you already use. Core features like repeating tasks remain free forever. However, as I add new server-heavy features, they will be part of the premium plan to help cover the costs of running the app. Also, the price of premium will go up every time I ship a major new feature, so the best time to get involved is right now while it's early. Check it out at the link in the description. Okay, we've talked about the big picture and the logic. Now let's see what this looks like as actual code. I'll put the full solution up on the screen first, and don't worry, after that, we'll walk through the most important sections together. Alright, here's the Python code for the first approach, which simply evaluates the boundaries. It uses 3 while loops, one for each segment of our trionic array. Don't worry if it looks like a block of text. We're going to break down each loop in the next few slides. First, we handle the initial rise. We start our index I at 1 so we can always look back at I-1. The while loop says, as long as we haven't run out of numbers, and the previous number is strictly smaller than the current number, keep moving forward. When this loop stops, it means we've either hit the end of the list, or the numbers stopped increasing. We mark this stopping point as P. This P is our candidate for the first peak. Next, we pick up exactly where we left off. Now we are looking for a decrease. The loop condition changes. We continue only if the previous number is strictly greater than the current number. We keep stepping forward until this is no longer true. We mark this new stopping point as Q. This Q is our candidate for the valley. Finally, we look for the last upward slope. We use the same increasing logic as the first loop. Once that stops, we mark our final position as flag. Now comes the most important part, the validation. We need to check 4 things. 1. P is not 0, meaning the first increase actually happened. 2. Q is not equal to P, meaning the decrease actually happened. 3. Flag equals n-1, meaning we successfully climbed all the way to the end of the list. And 4. Flag is not equal to Q, meaning the final increase wasn't empty. If all these are true, it's a trionic array. Okay, now for the second method, which the editorial calls counting the number of turning points. This one is a bit more clever. Instead of simulating the movement, we just count how many times the mountain turns. For a trionic array, we must start by going up, then turn to go down, and then turn to go up again. That's exactly 2 turns, resulting in 3 segments. We can use a neat mathematical trick to detect these turns by checking the product of the differences between adjacent numbers. And here's the code for that mathematical approach. It's much shorter. We start by assuming we have 1 segment. Then we loop through the array, and every time the direction changes, we increment our count. If we end up with exactly 3 segments, we return true. Let's see how that slope check works. This is the cool part. We check the product of 2 differences. The first term, nums, 2 minus nums, 1, represents the slope of the previous step. The second term, nums, 1 minus nums, represents the slope of the current step. If the direction changes, like going from up to down, one difference will be negative and the other positive. When you multiply a negative and a positive, you get a negative number, which is less than 0. That tells us a turn happened. If the direction stays the same, both differences have the same sign, so the product is positive. It's a very efficient way to detect peaks and valleys. Before we verify the speed, let's pause and think about edge cases. What if the array is too short? Well, trionic arrays need at least 3 elements to have an up-down-up shape. Our code handles this naturally. What if there are flat sections, like 1, 2, 2, 3? Both approaches handle this. Approach 1's loops will stop because the strict inequality fails. Approach 2 explicitly returns false if 2 neighbors are equal. And importantly, what if the array starts by going down instead of up? Approach 2 catches this right at the start with an if statement. So how fast are these solutions? Both approaches are very efficient. The time complexity is big O of n, where n is the length of our list. This is because we just walk through the list once, looking at each number. The space complexity is big O of 1, or constant space. We aren't creating any new lists or massive data structures. We're just using a handful of variables to store our place. This is as efficient as it gets. Alright, that covers the main solution in Python. As promised, for those of you who code in other languages, I'm about to show the full solutions for Java, C++, and JavaScript. I'll be using the first approach, evaluating boundaries for these, as the logic is very clear and standard across all languages. I won't be breaking these down step by step, so just pause the video on your language of choice to check it out. Alright, as promised, here is the full solution in Java, using the boundary evaluation method. You can pause the video here to take a closer look at the implementation. Next up, here is the C++ version of the solution. It uses vectors but follows the exact same logic. Again, feel free to pause and review the code. And finally, here is the solution in JavaScript. Hopefully seeing it in a few different languages helps solidify the concepts. So let's wrap it up. We looked at 2 great ways to solve this. The first was a direct simulation, checking each leg of the journey. The second was a clever mathematical approach counting the turning points. Both are super efficient. The key takeaway here is that for array-shape problems, you can either simulate the walk or look for the mathematical properties that define the shape. Also, if you're looking for even more Leetcode problems beyond the daily challenge, I've started a second channel called Leetcode Unlocked. It's where I'll be posting solutions to a ton of other problems. So if you're serious about your interview prep, be sure to check it out. The link is in the description below. Hope this Leetcode solution breakdown made sense. If it helped, give that like button a click, maybe subscribe for more, or drop a comment if you have questions. Make sure to turn on the notification bell so you know straight away when I upload a video, because I upload videos daily. If you want to support the channel, a few people have asked how I plan my solutions. I'm a big fan of sketching out the logic and data structures on a tablet before I code. It really helps. I've put affiliate links in the description to the tablet I use and a few other good options. Using those links doesn't cost you anything extra but really helps me out. Or, if you're feeling generous, there's always the Boba Fund. Keep coding, and I'll catch you in the next one.